Get strong.
Alrighty, well, a very good morning and a happy Friday to everyone here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Let's wrap up another week of sports. Let's get you guys ready into the weekend of what's going to be expected this week. I got football picks online for you, so we'll talk about the NFL as week 4. We'll get you dived into high school football. That, man, some really good games, and a game that I've been excited about all season long, kicking off tonight, and some college games. I mean, I was looking through some of these college games, especially around town, all the local ones, and I was reading up. I was doing my homework yesterday afternoon, and man, there's a lot of good games. If you're a Kentucky to a Ohio fan, there's just a lot of great games to get excited to about, man. Okay. I think, first of all, man, I'm coming in here and I'm heated. I can't tell you how just frustrated I am. Listen, congratulations to the Bengals, and we'll talk about the Bengals and we'll give you the Bengal highlights like we do each and every week and all that stuff. But I am very frustrated about the National Football League, and especially, and I'm sorry to say this, but I'm frustrated in the with the Miami Dolphins, and I don't quite know, to be honest, after reading some articles, after catching up, how much I should be frustrated at the Dolphins or anything else. But there will be an investigation. All right. I think, listen, last night's Bengals game. All right. Bengals, first of all, I think let's dive into this. All right. The uniforms. They had the white and with the black striped helmets. They had the white tops with the black on the shoulder pads. And then they had the white bottoms with the black and white stripes going down the sides. And then they also had the white socks and then either the black or white shoes. Okay. So what did you guys think of the Bengals uniforms last night? This was the first time this season that they brought, they told us prior to the season starting, they were bringing back those white helmets. All right. And then they decided to make it the white helmets on Thursday Night Football. And then on top of that, all right, the end zones, all right, you're so used to the black and orange. It was black and white end zones, and then the black and white logo in the center of the field. I mean, the environment was just a little different. And I think it set the mood, it set the tone for the weather, because it dropped down to the 50s. And I knew it was going to be cold. I'm waking up in this morning, I'm checking my temperature, the temperature on the outside, and it's like 44 degrees outside. So yeah, it's cold out there. It's cold at Paycor Stadium. And I told you it was going to be a very close game, very close matchup. And I just wonder if the Dolphins would have walked away with the victory if Tua it was healthy enough to stay in the game the entire game. But see, the controversy that we're having out of everything that's going on, right? The big controversy that we're having is out of Tua Tagovailoa, who suffered a back injury last week against the Buffalo Bills. And, I didn't really think much of it all throughout the week. And the reason why I didn't think much of it throughout the week is because I'm not covering East Coast football. I'm covering the AFC North in particularly, and I was very pleased and I was very surprised about how the AFC South performed last week. So overall, okay, in an overall standpoint, I was not focused on the AFC East. I wasn't focused on the Miami Dolphins because I thought Miami Dolphins were is a good team this year. Okay, I mean, there's certain things that you've seen or out of Miami that hey, listen, they could be a team right up there, and then so I didn't really pay close attention to the injury that Tua Tagovailoa had last week. All right. He goes down in the middle. So, from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, he goes down and stumbles halfway through the first half of last week's football game against the Buffalo Bills. He goes and gets tested for the for concussion protocol, and then he gets sent back out because it had to do with his back. All right. And then during the Bengals game, halfway through the second quarter, he gets kind of tossed down and he kind of shrivels up, and for a moment, listen, it was a scary moment. It looked like he was paralyzed. It looked like he just he was a limbed factor. And when you never, it doesn't matter, even on your worst enemies. All right, even if it was Ben Roethlisberger, if you're talking about the football, even if it was, you don't want Albert Pujols to get hurt. You don't want your opponents to get hurt, no matter how bad they are. Right? It doesn't matter, and you know he has to be he was hospitalized, went to UC Health. Uh, it was he thank goodness he was able to be discharged, and at on Thursday night after suffering a severe concussion. But here's my thing. I feel possibly there's more to that injury, head and neck injury, than there is for anything else. I mean, we dive into the way that his body was shaped, the way that his body was formed. I mean, I'm telling you, it was even for me watching it, it was a tough view and on primetime television. I don't know. For me, I'm a little frustrated. All right, I'm upset that if there was an injury that was in place, and I get it. Listen, NFL players, they're there's something else. They play through injuries, through tears, through broken bones, you name it. All right, there's always taped up. There's always medical staff. But when you think about where the NFL has tried to go over the last several years, how they've been cracking down on concussion protocols, how they've been cracking down on players that are out there on the field staying healthy. Okay, and then you see an incident like Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, you get worried for a moment. What in the world is the NFL doing? What in the world is the Miami Dolphins doing? In the sense that, hey, is your record more prideful than making sure that your top quarterback is healthy? That's where I get into the misunderstanding on. Listen, the Dolphins, in my opinion, coming after this game, especially after seeing everything that's happened, and you like I said, I heard a little bit about it last week. I'm sitting here and I'm telling you, man, that in my opinion, Miami Dolphins have their priorities messed up, and it's frustrating. And it's something that as um it's something. Hold on 1 second. So excuse me, sorry. So the thing is, that hey, yeah, I think that the NFL needs to be looked into. Needs to be an investigation that looks into this injury, and what about the scenario that in the time lapse that's happened to Tagovailoa. Listen, he's having a remarkable career season. I'm very pleased about what he's capable and what he's pulling through. And I wish him the best of luck. Here, it says here following the game, Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel says Tagovailoa suffered a concussion and nothing more serious, quotes unquote. All right. Uh, listen, he was ruled out, and listen, I'm just upset. I'm just upset that this had to be witnessed at the professional level on the professional league. Um, so, but I am, I'm taking a breather back. It's hard to focus in, regardless if you're a Bengals fan or just a football fan alone. It's hard to weigh in and just kind of enjoy the victory after we witness on the field halfway through the game. Is Yeah, we'll get a chance to talk about and show the highlights of the Dolphins and the Bengals game, and we'll get a chance to talk about how great and how big this win was as we get ready into the weekend, as we move on to the next week. I mean, we'll get a chance to talk about that stuff, and I think we'll have our moment on today's show that we will celebrate the victory. But overall, as we sit here, listen, I played football myself. Okay. I played a couple years of high school football, wasn't anything special. Okay. And I know that over the years, you pay close attention, especially to football fans, the things that the NFL are trying to do to improve the game, not only for the viewership, for the safety of the players, right? They're trying, this is the NFL is a image, is a role model to what high school kids and junior football players, want to get attracted to. And do you really think players want, families, parents want to throw their players after what they saw last night? And knowing now, all right, knowing now that the NFL has allowed this to happen without taking proper measures, in my opinion, and I think that there should have been more stuff. I mean, there's a lot of neurological stuff that goes around in the body. I think they need to jump up their game, and it has to come through the hands of Tua, and a Miami loss. So, but we wish Tua Tagovailoa the best speedy recovery. Now, I've been told, all right, we'll have all week to talk about this next week, as I've been told that Tua will be he's questionable for next week. Now, if I'm the Dolphins, all right, and listen, I'm not going to make any excuses for Teddy Bridgewater, but I think he's ready. All right, if I was a Dolphins, I'd keep Tua out for at least one game, if not two games. So that's my take, that's my opinion, and I had to kick off the show with this just heartfelt, devastating injury in the scene of events that took place last night on Thursday Night Football. All right, so we got a busy week ahead of you guys today, or a busy program ahead of you guys today. Wrapping up on a Friday, we got the NFL picks. Like I said, we'll talk about the highlights between the Bengals and the Dolphins. Hey, like I said, a big victory and a victory to celebrate for. Coming into this game, we knew how close this matchup this was. So we'll talk about the highlights of the game, things that you liked, things that you didn't like. I was just surprised to be able to see the game on TV. Thursday Night Football belonging to Amazon Prime. I was just glad to be able to see it on TV. I had a kick moment last night after the game. And listen, I don't want to, condemned or put on the spotlight with the news afterwards, but they're trying to cover the news and also trying to cover the Tua's injury and the press conferences, and they had nothing in line. They had nothing synced out. They were talking over each other, trying to give in their thoughts. They just, and partial of it was trying to say Tua's last name, and I get that, but It's I think it was a little funny to watch, and I apologize for maybe improper text for saying that, but I had a good time watching that. So we'll cover the Bengals and Dolphins. We'll get you guys ready with my NFL picks for the week. We'll also talk about some other sports going around locally as college gets ready to kick off a couple other games there, um, as well as some high school football games, some really good games coming your way. Reds get ready to take on the Chicago Cubs. The last 6 games of the season. We'll get you playoff implications this weekend to let you know exactly what do you need to watch out for if you're a baseball fan. You're looking to come in a last weekend of baseball, and I just advise baseball fans, just fans are watching, getting ready for the postseason. Let's take a step back and let's enjoy. Okay, the last week of baseball. It takes forever to get here, and then when it comes by so fast. And you kind of start reminiscing, hey, the last month of baseball is so critical. Get a chance to talk about some of the baseball stuff. Plus, hey, let's get you ready for SmackDown tonight. Okay, we're about a little over a week away from Extreme Rules. A lot of great matches. And a matter of fact, in order to get you ready for SmackDown, I think let's go over the match card. And my question for you guys is, who you guys think should be the main event of the card? Get your thoughts on that, hopefully. All right, we're just getting warmed up here on a Friday. Let's finish off the week right. We're going to take a step away here. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Throwing with Justin right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Sé lo que quieren, verme abajo, pero no pueden. Nunca confunde el amor, la plata y las mujeres. Vicio los fajos y los placeres. Por eso estoy bien acá como
9:23 here on the Throw-In on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Taking you guys up until 11 today. And finishing off the week strong here in Cincinnati, local Northern Kentucky news and sports related, man. By the way, I want to just show you guys here. I've been telling you guys there's been some issues the last couple of weeks trying to get myself onto Spreaker. So Spreaker provides our audio updates on podcast. So Spreaker does we can whenever I upload an episode of Spreaker, it distributes out to Spreaker, to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, not Castbox, that's still pending for some reason, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and GeoSoft. Okay, so if you guys are looking to find the podcast, it's called The Throw-In, right? Not The Throw-In with Justin, just The Throw-In. Okay. And the links are actually down in the description. So if you guys are listening to this on YouTube, then after the episode ends, I upload a proper description, with the links of all the audio platforms that we are now distributed on. And I was kind of playing around yesterday. So what it was is that back on Wednesday, I found out that I've been in contact with someone with COVID. And so on Wednesday, and so I had to make a doctor's appointment, go get a COVID test. It was negative, Yeah, thank you. And, so now, I've been off of work for a couple of days because of it, kind of. And so I was kind of, checking up on everything that's been going on. And I've finally been able to, one thing I wasn't able to do was set myself up on Apple Podcasts, which was so frustrating. Well, come to realize I was on a different account when I logged in to Apple Podcasts. It wanted me to log in under one email, but I had another email that was already set up. So without that being said, okay, I do have everything on Apple Podcast. Okay. And let me pull that up real quick. I do have everything on Apple Podcast. I have all the episodes updated. Now, I don't see on my distribution that it's been added, but I know that if you type in a Throw-In, it's the logo that you see now, and you have all the episodes. So now, and over the weekend, I'll be following and tuning in and checking in on that. But now I should have the ability to, air our show through anything, all audio platforms, period, just in general. So, which is a huge accomplishment for me because I really feel that helps. So, if you guys can't find us on a audio platform, please let me know, and we will try to get ourselves on there or figure out what's going on. Like I said, I'll be paying a close attention to Apple Podcasts. So after I post up this episode, I'm going to tune in, make sure that everything is updated properly. Because they usually happen within like 10-20 minutes of after publication of a show. All right, so that's it. Like I said, came on this show very heated, and we wish the best of luck to Tua Tagovailoa. But hey, the Bengals won their game, beat the Miami Dolphins, setting Miami Dolphins to 3-1, and Cincinnati moves to 2-2 on the week. And Cincinnati, in my opinion, 27-15 victory over the Dolphins. It was more of a, I wouldn't say if the Bengals were facing a Los Angeles Rams or a Kansas City Chiefs, I won't say that the Bengals are ready to face those type of teams, but they're working on it. And last night, you saw improvements, and we'll talk all about that after the highlights of last night's game. Dolphins and Bengals highlights from Thursday Night Football here. Hold on.
Come up in the gun. A lot of motion here. That's T. Higgins, the movement man, and the pass is caught, and that's a first down. So they pick up a 3rd and 1 and pick up a lot more out to the 46-yard line of Miami. That is Hayden Hurst. On the ground again. Nixon. And Nixon still on his feet, takes it all the way in.
Boy, that right side of that offensive line with some leg drive gives him a chance. Good vision to cut that.
.23-yard attempt. And they go down the field, but can't cash in for 7.
After those 2 dreadful years and putting him in a scheme where he feels comfortable.
Going deep, downfield, into double coverage, and it's going to be picked off at the 29-yard line. Von Bell was there. The coverage was perfect. They tried to get it to Hill. That didn't fool the Bengals, and they come away with the interception. And it's now 100%. Burrow is 8 of 15, barely over 50%. Goes deep down the left sideline, and that's caught. That's T. Higgins to the end zone. So the crowd was growing impatient. The next thing you know, you got a 59-yard touchdown over Xavier Howard's head.
Look at their safeties concerned about the right side. Their bodies turned. They think the ball is going to chase. Instead, it creates a one-on-one opportunity. They think that one of the best corners in the league, Howard, can hold up against Higgins. They want to help out on the other side, so they leave Howard alone, and a good throw. Great job by Higgins with the catch radius to come back to that ball.
From the 7. Shovel pass. Edmonds, can he get in? He spins, and he can. Touchdown.
Logan Wilson, great defender, kind of sinking. Now by the time he responds, you've got a couple linemen there that he's got to work around.
4 catches, 55 yards. Bridgewater airing it out deep downfield, and that is caught on the rebound by Hill. Awuzie is right there with him. Keeps his concentration, pulls it in, and it's 65 yards and a first down and goal. Sanders, who missed an extra point earlier, hits this one through. Final minute of the third. Swing it out here. Play is alive. Throw. Caught. 45-yard line. Tyler Boyd to Jamar Chase.
Holland comes over and knocks it away. Look how he threw that on a line. Now they're down to a couple backup corners trying to hold up against these Bengal receivers.
Deion Crossan in his spot right now. Burrow has time. Burrow goes deep. Got a man. It is Boyd, who's been dead solid until 3 or 4 plays ago. Sets up a 1st and goal. And 3 minutes into the 4th quarter, back and forth. McPherson, who had a tremendous rookie season. Hits it. Would have been good from 64. 2nd down and 10. Pressure from the outside. Picked off at the 9-yard line. Von Bell, his 2nd of the game. And the run back is into Miami territory all the way to the 45-yard line. Von Bell.
Von Bell is sitting at the top. They're trying to hit a seam inside of him. Bridgewater thinks he's going to look for this ball to the inside, right behind Logan Wilson. Instead, he throws it to the outside where Gesicki's not expecting it. And Von Bell is just waiting there in the back behind, playing back there in a too-high safety look, and he throws it right into his arms.
Pressure. Open. Chase. 1st and goal. Put the heat on. Beats Crossan, and Jamar Chase takes the ball. Off the fake. Wide open. In for the touchdown. Hayden Hurst, the tight end.
They're showing Mixon again, trying to get this defense to move, and then they just bring Hurst back this way and slide him out into the flat. Nobody picks him up. Aggressive defense trying to take away the potential.
Joe Burrow has guided his team to a 2-2 start. Teddy Bridgewater. Of course, we'll see about Tua and what happens to him down the line. Teddy, for the moment, is the Miami quarterback.
All righty. 27-15. And there's some things that you could take away as a positive note, and there were some things that you could take away as a negative note when it comes down to last night's game. Listen, I think it was a statement. All right. Getting off to a quick start, first drive, they get the ball early, 12 plays, start on the 25-yard line, 55 yards, total, and then went on in a 4-minute, 41 time stretch to score the touchdown. Mixon's went up the middle for 5 yards. And, listen, then when the Bengals scored, all right, the Dolphins came back in 10 plays, 4.5 minutes, only scored a field goal. And then and then it kind of settled in for a while. And then the Dolphins scored another field goal. I mean, there wasn't a lot of offensive plays that was made. And when there were offensive plays, you had deep passes from Joe Burrow, like the one in the 2nd quarter, the touchdown pass that he threw to Higgins for 59 yards. And then when you go get up to 14-6, Teddy Bridgewater goes and throws a touchdown too. And, 2 minutes and 41 seconds, then they come back, slow start off. And then for a moment, it was for a moment you felt that, as a close game, like we said yesterday was going to be, it was going to go back and forth. And then I think after a while, you just started seeing the Bengals pull away, especially after that late interception in the 4th quarter. And man, I'm talking about being able to breathe. All right. I just, it's something to say. Obviously, I think it's one thing when you get a chance to beat a 3-0 team, they've done something right for the first month, and you can't decredit what the Dolphins have done over the last, 3 weeks, beating the Patriots, beating the Ravens, and then beating the Bills, which is not a walk through the park. They beat two of top teams in the NFL. And you just wonder if things would have been a little bit different, because it was a close game through and through. If Tua Tagovailoa was didn't have that injury and stayed healthy. Joe Burrow, man, I want, like I said, some great things happen. I saw some, one thing I think I was pleased the most was the amount of times that Burrow was sacked. He was only sacked one for 6 times. What was it? He was only sacked one time yesterday for 6 yards. I mean, he's man. When you have an offensive game like that, go get your linemen some steak dinner afterwards. Joe Burrow, 20 for 31, 287 yards, 9.3 yards was the average with 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, 24 attempts of carrying with 61 yards. The run game really wasn't there. Miami stopped that run game, which was a key element. You got away with some of these big plays. T. Higgins, 7 carries, 127 yards, 1 touchdown. Jamar Chase, 4 carries, 81 yards, no touchdowns. I mean, Boyd, 42 carries, 2 receptions with 47 yards also on the book. So it was a slow game, a lot of back and forth, but you really saw some big games. I think the key was Joe Burrow and T. Higgins all night long, which really helped the team out. Take a look at teams, first down possessions. The Bengals led the possession rate 31-35 to 28-35. The Bengals are 8 for 15 on third down efficiency, while the Dolphins were 2 for 10, 1 fourth down for each of them, 1 attempt, and they both failed. Total yards, the Dolphins, you would have thought maybe played a better game, 378 to 371, like I said, neck and neck, about 60 to 63 plays, each averaging about 6 yards a play. Passing yards, 303 for the Dolphins, 310 for the Bengals. So this was very, very, very close. And I think at the end of the day, it went down to the red zone. Okay. 2 for 3 attempts in the red zone for the Bengals, 1 for 3 for the Dolphins. Goal to go efficiency, 1 for 2 for both teams. Penalties, you talk about the penalties, about neck and neck. As a matter of fact, they had the same amount of penalties, and the Bengals end up losing, giving up twice as many yards in penalties. So overall, neck and neck game. And here's the thing: do you really think something is special? I guess at the end of the day, you don't look at whoever is going to win, right? At the end of the day, you look at the wins and loss. But Joe Burrow, 21 for 31, 287, didn't really get the run game going. I had to make some really big passes to get their offense down into the red zone, which then gave them the ability to score, at least to put points on the board. But you take a look at the combination of Tua Tagovailoa and Teddy Bridgewater, all right? Tua alone in the quarter and a half that he played was 8 for 14 and 110 yards. He was off to a set for like a 300-yard game. Okay, he threw 1 interception. Teddy Bridgewater also came in the game. When he did, he was 14 for 23, 193 yards. So a total 22 for 37 with 303 yards. So as a combination, and I think whenever you have to come in the middle of a game as a backup quarterback, I think it takes a while to get adjusted. I mean, your mindset. I mean, even though they were talking about it last night that Bridgewater, ever since he had 1 game years back where he just wasn't mentally ready for the game, and that really what struggled him. Well, I really don't believe that he was mentally ready for the game. I mean, who can predict Tua going down and having another incident? So, but excuse me, a little dry throat here. And now, hey, but the Bengals picked up the victory. You're gonna get a little extra break here for the Dolphins, which needs who needs a break, right? After losing, and they're going to be heading on to be facing. Let's see this here, to be facing New York Jets in New York. Now, as I mentioned, we'll probably talk more about that. I believe that Tua needs to sit out this week. It's not a big game. It's going to be a divisional game, but at least sit out, if not 2 weeks at most. Maybe come back to week 6 against Minnesota. The fact that you would even consider him, properly, in the mix, for week 5 as a potential quarterback, I think there's a little bit of concern there if you are the Dolphins, and I think there should be a well thought out investigation pulling through for that. The Bengals, listen, one thing that I forgot about the Bengals. All right, week 1 was at home, but week 2 and 3 was on the road to Dallas and to New York. They took care of business against Miami last night. Then they get to go over to Baltimore and New Orleans. Nothing by any means necessary. Okay, the first 6 weeks, 4 of the 6 home games are on the road, and then you got Atlanta Falcons, and then you got over in Cleveland, and before you get a bye. Don't forget the Bengals. Their bye week is week 10 of the season, and then the Dolphins are week 11. So we're cut out. But when we come back. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about my picks for this week. We'll transition into some high school, other football games coming on in high school and college, because there's a lot of great games, man. I tell you that. We'll get you ready for the Cubs and Reds series beginning this weekend, and also getting you guys ready for Friday Night SmackDown, which is tonight, as Extreme Rules is just a little over a week away. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be right back here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty. I want to give a shout out to StreamYard Studios, the proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Create your podcasts, YouTube videos, host virtual business meetings, and even conduct interviews through StreamYard Studio. Make your show more unique with banners, overlays, have multiple guests on your shows, and they have a free option for you if you head on over to StreamYard.com. Check out the availabilities. We've been using StreamYard Studios for over a year, and we want to give them a big shout out and thank you for the services that they provide for us to use. Makes podcasting and YouTubing, at least the way that we do things, much, much easier. All right, listen, it is Friday. It is Thursday Night Football is behind us, setting the tone, and I say that it's a really entertaining moment. I tell you each and every week that setting the tone to the NFL, on Thursday Night Football sets the tone for the rest of the weekend. And there's some really good games coming out here this weekend. And I think that the Dolphins and the Bengals, besides the injury, I think they really set the tone. So let's dive into week number 4 picks that I have here. All right. All right, Sunday coming up this Sunday here in the NFL, tipping things off early in the morning. This is actually is this the right week? Yeah, week number 4. Minnesota and New Orleans going to be playing in London for the first one of the several series out there on the road. I was looking into this one here, and I really like the favor of Minnesota. There's just something I like about them in London picking up the victory. So I'm going Minnesota. And listen, this is an even ball field. There's no home field advantage between the Saints. So Jameis Winston taking on the Vikings. I got Minnesota in that one. All right, kicking off at 1 o'clock. We got the Cleveland Browns in Atlanta. And, listen, I've really been enjoying what I've been seeing out of Jacoby Brissett the last couple of weeks. And, listen, the Falcons, they picked up their first victory last week. I just don't see them doing it again. Give me the Browns over the Falcons. Then we got a early Sunday showdown between the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. As we mentioned, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson having a MVP season so far. Can he continue that at home when Josh Allen trying to look to capture a victory after losing to the Dolphins last week, after leading by 20, after leading in the game? And, man, I was going for this one. I don't know what's going on with Buffalo. I'm sticking with the Ravens. I'm sticking with Lamar Jackson at home. Washington Commanders over in Dallas at AT&T Stadium, 1 o'clock kickoff Eastern time. We don't know. I think Dak Prescott is still up in the air, but I really like the performance from Cooper Rush. And for that, I'm putting the Cowboys over the Commanders, moving to 3-1. Seattle jumping cells into Detroit. And listen, I'm a Jared Goff fan. I'll tell you that. It's hard to root for the Lions when just their inconsistency. But I am a Jared Goff fan, and therefore I'm going. But unfortunately, I have to go for Geno Smith and the Seahawks, and this one in Detroit. Seattle beats the Lions Sunday football. All right, Chargers are heading over to Houston this Sunday to face the Texans, the 0-2-1 Texans. And listen, I don't know. I don't think that they have anything going on for this year. I know Justin Herbert was injured, but they're not facing that same Jaguars team. So I'm going to give me the Chargers over Houston. All right, a big AFC South game. I think this one will test credibility over these two teams. The Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill, taking on the Indianapolis Colts, Matt Ryan, after Matt Ryan picked up an impressive victory over the Chiefs. Listen, I think maybe that's the motivation. I know that Tennessee is changing things up a little bit as they come in 1-2 on the year. 1-1 Colts, though, will walk away with the victory in Indianapolis this Sunday. The Chicago Bears takes on the New York Giants on a Sunday throwdown. Both teams coming in 2-1. Justin Fields looking pretty solid, but there's a lot of people not believing in Justin Fields or the Bears to go anywhere this year, as the New York Giants has gotten off to a very, very impressive start. Being at home, I'm going with Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. Coming up at 1 o'clock, also on Sunday, the Jaguars and the Eagles. A lot of people put faith in Trevor Lawrence after beating the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday last week. This game will be at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, taking on Jalen Hurts. I got to stick with the Eagles on this one. They moved to 4-0. A lot of people are predicting, as a matter of fact, that Trevor Lawrence will upset the Eagles, and there won't be no undefeated teams after this week. The New York Jets are heading over to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers. Both teams are 1-2. Joe Flacco taking on Mitchell Trubisky. At least coming into today, Mitchell Trubisky is expected to have be the start for the quarterback. Just when and where Kenny Pickett comes into play, who knows? I'm picking up some Steelers on this one over the Jets. Afternoon games here. 4:05 Arizona Cardinals over in Carolina. I've told you I've given up on Baker Mayfield. Give me Arizona. 4:25, we got the Patriots. Bill Belichick is heading over to Green Bay, and I like the Packers at home. I think the Packers at home, they're going to have a really good season. Matter of fact, they may go undefeated compared to any team. Their struggles are going to be on the road with the rookie receivers. All right, Denver's over in Las Vegas this week, and I keep on saying Oakland. All right, the 2-1 Denver looks to make pathway into sending the Raiders 0-4. It would be a devastating loss. The only 0-3 team here is the Raiders this year, and it would be a devastating loss if they could go to 0-4. I'm choosing the Broncos to beat the Raiders Sunday afternoon. A really good Sunday night matchup, 8:20. The Kansas City Chiefs over in Tampa Bay. Tom Brady, every Wednesday off, is that going to play an effect into his season and how the Buccaneers turn out? Don't forget, it's not the same Buccaneers team as it was. A Super Bowl rematch from a few years back. Patrick Mahomes comes in, takes care of business, and beats Tampa Bay on Sunday Night Football. All right, and then Monday Night Football. The Los Angeles Rams 2-1 taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo back under snaps for the 49ers. Gotten off to a rough start last week. I still think that the Rams are on top of the NFC West. I'm choosing the Rams over the 49ers. All right, that is my picks for this week's NFL games, and we are wrapping up hour number 1 and all. Man. Big day, weekend in football. Well, hey, hour number 1 is complete on our show. Coming back here in hour number 2, let's dive right into what's going around in football and high school and college level in our area. Plus, we'll get you ready for the Red Series against the Chicago Cubs. 3 on the road, 3 at home, wrap up the season here, and then we'll take you into talk a little bit about SmackDown. That's all still to come. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Throwing with Justin right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, hour number 2 here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Thank you guys for everyone for tuning in. Man, a busy week here. And you'll listen while we get to you the last couple of notes for the NFL, kind of wrapping up the segments of the NFL. 3 quarterbacks I want to give you really fast, who I think is on the hot seat for the quarterbacks this week if they lose. And there was a couple of games that I was keeping in mind, first through a couple of weeks of the NFL. We're in week number 4 right now. And if you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. It's just that simple. And I got first quarterback has to be the game out there in London. Jameis Winston, they're the Saints, man. I don't think in a division right now with I know Atlanta's not playing good, Carolina's not playing good. I mean, right now it's going to probably be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Saints, and there's no reason that the 1-2 Saints can't pick up a victory over Minnesota. But Jameis Winston doesn't pick up a victory this Sunday, you may see some changes being made in the at the quarterback position early on. The other 2 ones, all right, that I'm thinking of, Mitchell Trubisky, man. Okay, so like I said, we have been waiting for Kenny Pickett. Pittsburgh fans want Kenny Pickett. You already heard Ben Roethlisberger saying, "Hey, listen, give Mitchell Trubisky credit where credit's due. He's been holding the fort down, even though he hasn't been getting a positive feedback from the fans." And trust me, this Sunday against the Jets, you're gonna hear about Mitchell Trubisky wanting, or not wanting, but you're gonna hear Kenny Pickett chants from that crowd again this week. And if you win, I think, hey, you win, you go 3-1 or 2-2, right, on the season. You're still above the Cincinnati Bengals, but if you lose, Right? You lose against the Jets, against Joe Flacco, who lost to the Bengals. I think you got to really consider what is your future options for Kenny Pickett. Now, I think it's leaning towards that Pickett will get a start this season, probably in a couple weeks. But just, time is ticking. And last but not least, it's a guy who I was trying to favor a few weeks ago coming into the season. I told everyone that he was getting a fresh start with the new team, the quarterback, but he has not shown anything as a quarterback as should have. And that's going to be Baker Mayfield in Carolina. How long will Carolina Panthers? They took a gamble. They picked up Baker Mayfield. All right. Was that the right decision? Right now, it doesn't really look like a right decision for what the Bengals, for what the Panthers made. Will they make a quarterback switch if they do not, if the Panthers do not win this week against the Arizona Cardinals at home? All right. But hey, NFL is done. I gave you my prediction. We went over the Bengals and Dolphins game last week, busy hour number 1. And coming up here, hey, listen, football isn't done yet. We got some great college games coming in. All right. Taking a look around town. Listen, we could talk all we want about number 1s and number 2s and Alabama and Georgia, and there's nothing quite special about them. I mean, they're not really facing anyone in particular, but I was doing a little bit of the TLC cleanup and getting ready for the show yesterday. A couple games I really like to see coming off first. Louisville in Boston. I mean, we're gonna head down south. All right, 2-2 for Louisville Cardinals. They're 2-2 on the season, 0-2 in conference. All right. They had a bounce back win last week, 41-3 over UCF. Quarterback Malik Cunningham looks to repeat his performance this week. He went 186 yards last week in passing and 113 in rushing last week. Cunningham, he's the 8th quarterback in NCAA history to eclipse 8,000 passing yards and 3,000 rushing yards on his career. Boston comes into the game 1-3. They're 0-2 in conference. Also, in the ACC game with the Eagles have been out in the AAC. The Eagles have been outscored 48-3 in the first half alone. Boston College is 6-8 against Louisville in the career. Cardinals won last time out, 28-14 last October. Cunningham rushed for 133 yards and 3 touchdowns, with throwing for 107 yards in the game. So, hey, Louisville, Boston College, Louisville trying to get off to a fast start, early lead, and it doesn't look like Boston College is able to really bounce back from a deficit. So think of if you could get out to a 28-7 lead for the Cardinals, picking up a victory there. Another rushing game, so on the ground is very key. That game tips off at noon. Right, another game that I am really enjoying, that I want to tune into and watch. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Bearcats. Cincinnati Bearcats over in Tulsa at 7 p.m. All right, AAC opener here. Bearcats 3-1, averaging conference best 42.5 points a game, with Tulsa 2-2, averaging right behind them 39 points per game. Tulsa is the first in conference, though. Both total offense 507 yards and passing offense 328.5 yards. For Cincinnati, Ben Bryant threw 3 of the 4 touchdowns to Tyler Scott last week. And also as they won, beat 45-24 win over Indiana. All right, 24-40 career high throwing 354 yards, third 300-yard passing performance since joining the program as a transfer from the Eastern Michigan. Tyler Scott, AAC Player of the Week last week after 10 catches, 185 yards. Also, Ivan Pace Jr., AAC Defensive Player of the Week, on the other hand, with 15 tackles, including 4.5 for losses and 2.5 sacks against the Hoosiers. All right. So Cincinnati taking on Tulsa tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Also coming your way too, another really good game is Rutgers taking on number 3 Ohio State. Kickoff is at 3:30. Rutgers is 3-1, 0-1 in conference. It's going to come down to a coin toss, and listen, it's all going to come down to whatever. If Rutgers wins the coin toss, man, last week Ohio State, okay, for the 4-0, 1-0 on the conference, 77-1 win over Toledo last week. Coach Ryan Day decided to receive the coin opening kickoff in the coin toss last week, and they scored the opening drive possession, and then the next 6 possessions from there. All right, and then the first 11 of 12 drives have reached into the end zone for the Bearcats last week. All right, Buckeyes are third nationally in scoring, 48.8 points per game, but Rutgers head coach Greg Schiano was the defensive coordinator from Ohio State back from 2016 to 18, and will rely on their defense to help them in this game. Rutgers is second against the run game, 156.5 per game. Ninth total defense, 249.5, 25th in scoring defense, 17.3 points per game. Rutgers quarterback issues, man, that's going to be the biggest struggle, and that's the only reason why I don't think that the Rutgers are going to beat Ohio State. All right, their senior quarterback Noah Vadral recovering from surgery. Sophomore Gavin Winsett, he's also injured, so they're going to rely on Evan Simmons, another sophomore who's 28 for 49, career high 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and a pick 6 against the Hawkeyes so far. So Ohio State, Cam Brown, Denzel Burke, and Jackson Smith Najiba, all right, might return this week. So three key starters may be out for Ohio State this week. I still don't think that's going to be an issue, okay, other than maybe the run game for Ohio State, but it's going to come down to who can get on the point first. Rutgers is going to have a difficulty keeping up with Ohio State. They're going to be in Columbus this Saturday, 3:30 p.m. kickoff time, and it's going to be a good game. But it's going to be a game that could very well easily get away from everybody. All right, last but not least, probably one of my favorite games coming into tomorrow up at high noon. Also, Kentucky, number 7 Kentucky taking on number 14 Ole Miss. Kentucky 4-0, 1-0 in the conference. Unexplained tough battle against Northern Illinois in a 31-23 win. Will Lewis went 18 for 26 for 303 yards last week. A career high 4 touchdowns. Third 300-yard game by Levis this year, but sacked 5 times. Ole Miss comes into the game 4-0. All right, hasn't played a conference game yet, showing some cracks in the defense last week. All right, in a win over Tulsa, 35-27. Tulsa matched Ole Miss in yardage, 462 to 457. Without the quarterback Davis Brin, Ole Miss scored 28 points in the second quarter, leading 35-17 at half, but was scoreless in the second half. Okay, last year Ole Miss and Kentucky faced each other. Ole Miss beat Kentucky 42-41 in overtime after Matt Ruffalo missed a PAT for the Wildcats. All right, top rusher Chris Rodriguez returns after serving his 4-game suspensions for the Wildcats. Without Rodriguez, 85.5 yards rushing, 2.4 yards average. Valtteri Smoke average, who's now the rusher, is averaging 5.2 yards a carry, 51 yards. with 1 touchdown, so a key component at the running game. Chris Rodriguez, a junior, last season, 1,379 rushing yards. Going to have some making up to do on 225 carries with 9 touchdowns and 3 with passing. In 2020 against Ole Miss, he ran for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. For Ole Miss, all right, Quinshawn Judkins, all right, earned SEC co-freshman player of the week after a career high 140 yards on 27 rushes against Tulsa. 5'11", 210 pounds, reached 100 all-purpose yards in 3 of his first 4 outings. So if you're looking for a local football game to really tune in and really dial into, I'm saying number 7, Kentucky taking on Ole Miss. Number 14, we're going to be really close one here. Both undefeated, so looking to pick up their first win. So, hey, listen, a lot of things going on in the college world of sports. Let's not forget about that. Some of the other games I'm going to be kind of tuning into as well is coming up tonight. San Diego State taking on Boise State. Braxton Burmeister, senior, 6'1", 205 pounds, out of La Jolla, California, 230 yards last week, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Boise State, Taylor Green, he's a freshman, 6'6", big boy, 220 pounds, from Louisville, Texas, 155 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Both teams come in tonight's game picking up 2-2. I'm suspecting San Diego to win. And then also coming in tonight, number 15, Washington takes on UCLA. Both teams are 4-0. Chip Kelly is trying to get back to 5-0, first time since 15. Fast pace. This is needing to be a fast pace for Washington here. Because Washington's also really excellent in the red zone. Washington's Michael Penix Jr., 6'3", 213 pounds, 2 for 37, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, 92 for 143 on the career, 64% passing, 1,388 yards. He's averaging 347 a game with 12 touchdowns. UCLA, Darion Thomas, senior, 6'1", 205 pounds, from Las Vegas, Nevada, 80 and 107 on the career, 75 averaging passing completions, 896 yards, 224 yards per game, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. This game, Washington and UCLA, is going to be a ground game. Okay, in my thoughts, I'm liking UCLA to pick in favor of winning this game. Other games also be noticed about. Number 2, Alabama taking on Arkansas tomorrow at 3:30. Alabama's 4-0 taking on Arkansas 3-1. Season kickoff is at 3:30. Number 9 taking on number 16. Also at 3:30, Wake Forest and Florida State, 3-1 taking on 4-0. Number 22 ranked number 23 will face each other. So that is coming around here in college. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about high school football, some really fun things going up in the high school world of sports. Plus, we'll get you some baseball and thoughts on getting you preparation for Extreme Rules, which is next week as we dive into SmackDown. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Throne with Justin right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty. 10:28 here, taking you guys up into 11. Still a lot to talk about here, so we'll dive right back into it. High school football. We talked about college football and all the games that we liked. Sports weekend this week. We got high school football coming up, all right? There's 82 games being played today, and we could sit down and we could talk about number 1, Archbishop Moeller, all right, Ohio, from Cincinnati, Ohio, which, hey, listen, something to throw out there. From my understanding, I believe they're like ranked number 20 or 18 in the national regions So congratulations to Archbishop Moyler. All right. But they're taking on number 3 Elder Cincinnati. I think that's going to be a really good one. Top 5 ranks. Number 11 Mason's taking on number 2 Lakota West in Lakota West in Westchester, Ohio. And Oak Hills from Cincinnati taking on number 4 Princeton from Cincinnati. Also, first game of the night tonight is number 19 Withrow. Cincinnati's Ohio's taking on Aiken from Cincinnati. Kickoff is at 6:30. Talking about some high school football nearby, Oil City, Pennsylvania. I want to give a big shout out to Ethan Knox, regional rushing high school football yard, who leads in the national regional high school football rushing yards. He's 6'1", 175 pounds junior, leads with 2,007 and 5 games running over 400 yards in each of the last 4 contests. Last game, he had 48 carries, 432 yards, 21 and 20 in a 21-20 victory over Northwestern Medina, Ohio. Also, want to give a big shout out to Danny Stoddard, a national high school football leader in passing yards. 6'2", 110 pounds junior, throwing 2,356 yards during the 5-1 start for the Battling Bees. 27 touchdowns so far this season. Last game against Avon back on August 26th, 39 and 52, 621 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 43-42 loss to Avon back on August 26th. He's averaging 392 yards a game. He's so far this career is 161 to 239, passing 67%. So leading those 2 categories, congratulations to them. That's all coming off of the Max Preps report here. Also, but coming down into some games that we're really diving in and paying attention to. Western Brown taking on Clinton Massey, who's 2-4. Western Brown comes in 5-1, 1-0 on conference. They're third in the conference so far. 36-20 win over New Richmond last week. Drew Novak, 20-31, 302 yards with 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 14 carries, 108 yards rushing with 1 touchdown. Key players, Zachary Chapman, 20 carries, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then also Matt Fry, 8 receptions, 204 yards as well. Their kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. Also coming up tonight, I want to give back out to number 10 Covington Catholic, who is 5-1, taking on Boone County, 3-3, 14-7 win over Cooper last week was Covington Catholic. Like I said, you had that big boy coming out. Was Willie Rodriguez. Man, love to see that guy back out there. And my key game of the week, a big game in my opinion. I'm thinking, hey, listen, Dixie High School taking on Beechwood. I was waiting for this game to come. Beechwood is ranked number 18. They're coming into the game 4-1 as Dixie High School. All right, they lost last week 14-59 over Highland Heights. They moved to 3-3. They're ranked 60 in Kentucky and 20 in the regional section, as Beechwood's 14 in Kentucky and number 1 in the regional section. Dixie High School Heights is coming into tonight's game on the road, 2-1 on away, as Beechwood's undefeated. Hey, Beechwood lost 2 weeks ago. They had a bye week last week. They lost 2 weeks ago against Covington Catholic, 31-14. The first loss in 27 games. Looking to recapture. Hey, listen, Beechwood's going to have a gripe on their hands. I'm excited. High school football. You guys got nothing to do. Hey, Bengals played on Thursday Night Football against the Dolphins, and they won. It's great. Let's cheer. Let's be happy for the week, and let's get ready. Right then, it's got some football. If you're out of town, it's cold, right? I mean, it's right now 54 degrees, a little bit sunny. It's going to top out at 47. It's going to drop down to the 40s later on tonight, man. I'm excited about that. I love the cold. But listen, it's Friday. There's no high college football going on. Save all that for tomorrow. You guys could do that for tomorrow. But then, all right, let's get some high school football. Go out to your local high school football school and watch a local game. There's a lot of great teams. And like I said, like I can't mention, your next Joe Burrow, your next Jamar Chase is going to be playing at one of your high school footballs. I bet you anything. All right. So tune them out, check them out. A couple of great games to watch and all that. All right. That was a quick high school football report. All right. If you guys are into basketball, all right, NBA. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how things are kicking off. All right. Today, right, in Tokyo, the Golden State Warriors beat the Washington Wizards 96-87. All right. In the preseason home opener. And so as you tune into that, I'm still wondering. So they're going to be NBA all season long, all weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about that coming up on Monday. NHL, if you want to look at some of the scores, like I said, we'll probably tune in to the Columbus Blue Jackets at most, in my opinion. Now, they didn't play yesterday. They don't play. They play on Saturday, I believe. Yep, they play Washington Capitals 7 p.m. on Saturday. So if you don't have nothing, you're not a football fan, and you don't have nothing coming up tomorrow, head up north and out east to Columbus and watch the Blue Jackets tip off as well. Let's see where FC Cincinnati is. All right, they play tomorrow. Okay. So FC Cincinnati, who tied their last game, all right, trying to make it to the playoffs. They play tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. against Chicago. So you want to tune into that one if you're also local. They've been on a really hot streak, other than tying Seattle Sounders back on Tuesday. They got just a few more games left. Trying to win. Make it to the playoffs. All right. Let's dive into some baseball. The Cincinnati Reds. And I've been drilling this one. They had the bye week, and it was actually a relief that I didn't have to worry about covering any Reds baseball this weekend. All right. But the Reds kick off just 6 more games. All right, just 6 more games on the season, and you can finally sit back and say that the season's over with. But my goal is, right, as the Reds come into play, all right, they're 60-96 on the season. Chicago Cubs come in tonight 70-86. Okay. And by the way, all games this weekend for the Reds and Cubs, all right, 3-game series in Chicago at Wrigley Field. It's going to be at 2:20 p.m. Okay. Ashcraft, right-handed pitcher for the Reds, 5-4, 4.18 ERA, and with 66 strikeouts, taking on Sampson, who is right-handed pitcher, 3-5, 3.23 ERA, 64 strikeouts. Guys can listen to that one on the Reds WLW 700. It's going to be a decent series, I believe. Right? I don't have a doubt about it. Coming into this weekend, right? Nick Lodolo will get the nod for the mound on Saturday. 4-7, 3.75 ERA, and also getting the mound for the Reds. If I could find it here, probably just later in the afternoon. Yep, there we go. You got Chase Anderson on the mound Sunday, right-handed pitcher, 2-3, 4.70 ERA, 23 strikeouts, taking on Marcus Stroman, who is 5-7, 3.66 ERA, 112 strikeouts. Now that's on Saturday. There's no pitcher recorded right now for the Cubs on Saturday, so we'll tune into that when that comes, and we'll get you all the highlights over the weekend. But 3 games in Chicago, 3 games at home. They got, hey, listen, you don't want to lose both series, right? They got 6 games left. I think the notable standpoint is, hey, let's win 1 series and we'll be good. All right, 4 games. You got to at least go 3-3 to avoid 100 losses. That's what I'm looking for the rest of the season. Sorry, just taking my morning coffee in here. And diving into, you guys talk about the Reds. Let's dive into Major League Baseball. While we are here moving along in this world of sports. Oh, man. You know, coming up some yesterday's scores, I was tuning into the Padres. They dropped 1 of 3 against 2 of 3 again against the Dodgers. Really just tough team to face. The Padres will take on the White Sox tonight in a 3-game series, but the playoff race is still on board. You know, one thing I was looking into is that the Angels, it wasn't until the 9th inning, Angels, Shohei Ohtani, 15-8. He won the game last night against the A's, 4-2, but it was a no-hitter heading up into, I want to say, the 9th inning where they finally got 2 runs on the board. But, you know, playoff implications here, taking a look at the standings at the wild card, it's already been in place, man. The AL divisions have been placed. Toronto has reached playoff berth. Seattle right now sits above Tampa Bay with a half a game lead. Baltimore just 5 games away, and by the end of the weekend, we may very well see the AL wild card be set. At least about the 3 teams going to be representing the wild card, just because Baltimore's just 2 games away from being eliminated. On this hand, you got 4 teams already guaranteed. Atlanta has already been in place. The Padres still 2.5 games up on of Philadelphia. All right, the Philadelphia is on a 5-game losing streak, and they're still a half a game ahead of Milwaukee. Now, according to the records, there's still about 7 to 2 games left. The Giants are 2 games away from being eliminated, and the Milwaukee Brewers are just 7 games away from being eliminated. That's still winding down. Now, hey, San Diego's taking on the Chicago White Sox this weekend. The Philadelphia Phillies, I believe it's a doubleheader today, taking on the Washington Nationals. So I'll be tuning into that. And it was interesting. I told you guys yesterday, right? Milwaukee, right? Philadelphia was facing the Cubs in the day game. They lost. And then Milwaukee was facing Miami last night. And I was like, you should know that, hey, if you would have won the game last night, Milwaukee, you would have been that 3rd spot at the moment. So Miami continues their series with Milwaukee. Milwaukee trying to get into the postseason. San Francisco, they got 2 games before elimination. They're taking on Arizona. Okay. And then I think you also, right now, this is a huge, huge weekend. Okay. Talking about a huge weekend in baseball. The Mets, all right, and the Braves. And practically the way this looks like, we could possibly see the AL East winners this weekend. And so both coming up on Saturday and Sunday. I want to say Saturday, Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to give it to you right here. All right. Tomorrow, you guys want to come on in and tune in to a nighttime game, 7:20 p.m. First pitch. You have Max Scherzer taking on Mr. Wright for Atlanta. The Mets and the Braves do battle tomorrow, 7:20 p.m. And then for a daytime game, I believe, you know what? Yeah, no, Sunday night baseball here. The Mets and the Braves, ESPN. Saturday and Sunday night action bringing to you right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I'm excited. You got Bassett taking on Morton Sunday night, and it's going to be a big weekend for baseball here. So that's pretty much all the case. All right. You know, in baseball, there's a lot to watch, you know, as baseball winds down. Any key games that you guys want to tune into, I'll give you my key games and the thoughts of Extreme Rules match card as we head into SmackDown. Last break of the day, taking you guys up until 11 here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. For information, check out epidemicsound.com. We want to give a shout out to Epidemic Sound. Thank you guys for providing royalty-free music to our program. You know, that's one of the biggest issues in a lot of the areas when you deal with shows like this, trying to get into, you know, music that don't get copyrighted and then be taking it down, because, you know, you put out great product. And listen, you know, I'm excited. Thank you guys for tuning in. Wrapping up here on a Friday. We'll be back again Monday, 9 a.m. to 11 to talk all sports, everything going down. The Reds talking about some Reds highlights, what they did. Like I said, I want the Reds to finish off the season without 100 wins. Can they do that? I think only time will tell this weekend, and I really think it all depends how they play in Chicago. You got to at least split both series at home and at away, you know, over the next 6 games. And I really would like them to take 4 or 3 against Chicago and finish off their season strong. We'll talk a little bit about high school football recaps. We'll talk about a little bit of college football recaps and the games that we were looking into and any games that were surprising. And we're also to take a look into some NFL. Now, hey, listen, we're just celebrating a victory between the Bengals last night in a victory 27-15 over the Miami Dolphins. But we wish the best of luck in a recovery from Tua Tagovailoa, and man, it just leaves you disappointed. But moving forward, we are just a little over a week away from WWE Extreme Rules. As we hit the fall season here in professional wrestling, you got Extreme Rules, Crown Jewel, Survivor Series looking up. Plenty of wrestling to talk about. And like I said, this has been, you know, AEW, I felt, in a personal opinion, it was a down world week for the AEW. They're just coming after the aftermath of the Grand Slam, right? And, you know, Monday Night Raw is heating up, and SmackDown not looking to be too much of a terrible match. You know, to be looked at a terrible show. I do feel like SmackDown is a little bit on that side edge here. Tonight on SmackDown on Fox, you guys can watch Friday Night SmackDown. Shotzi looks to disrupt Damage Control in a matchup against Bayley. First time you'll get a chance to really see Bayley in a one-on-one action as she gets ready and gets set to face Bianca Belair in Extreme Rules match. Also tonight on SmackDown, you got Hit Row set to take Los Lotharios down a peg, as they've been a little prick in the neck. Also, Ricochet takes on Ricochet and Madcap Moss go to war, taking on Sami Zayn, teaming up with Solo Sikoa for the second match for Solo Sikoa on SmackDown. First time they'll be teaming up. And you know, listen, I don't, you know, it doesn't look like the entire bloodline or, you know, is acceptive to Sami Zayn. I really don't know. So, you know, Solo Sikoa seems to be on board. Roman Reigns seems to be playing in it. One of the Usos seem to be playing in it. I'm sorry, I can't tell them which one's a part. But, you know, even Paul Heyman has some really good takes inside of it. So I really, you know, this is a tag team spot. I'm just assuming that Sami Zayn is going to take more of the hit. Plus, hey, listen, Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey looking to get ready for their Extreme Rules match. You know, are really diving in, you know, really heating up, which I, you know, very impressed. And I can't wait to see what has to come here in a couple of weeks. All right. Also, just been announced, something I just saw here down at the bottom trending is that the Brawling Brutes will to go to war with the Imperium in a 6-man tag team, good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. Okay. Yeah, let's want to know what the hell is a Donnybrook match? What is? Maybe I just pop it up. Okay, I have this article. Extreme Rules Brawl, the Brawling Brutes and Imperium will look to rip each other apart in a 6-man tag team good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. The two dangerous factions have been in each other's throats. Ridge Hall, blah, blah, blah. The height contest out, blah, blah, blah. Fatal 4-way, loss against, trying to, now just one day after Gunther's title rematch, Sheamus' season premiere, brand blue on October 7th. I know that Sheamus is expected to challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental Champion. Brace yourself for an absolute free-for-all brawl with numerous weapons at every turn that guarantees a display of an all-out mayhem. Embrace the carnage at Extreme Rules this Sunday. All right. So realistically, and Extreme Rules, all 6. I'm assuming all 6 men. If you guys know what a Donnybrook match is, please let me know. I want to know. I mean, I have no idea what that one is, what that type of match is. But hey, listen, it's something. I guess it's something new to spice things up. Okay. So what I want to know from you guys, all right, Extreme Rules is coming up here on Peacock in just a few weeks. All right. You got a handful of several matches. You have, you got Bailey taking on Bianca Belair in Extreme Rules. I want to say a ladders match, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Riddle and Seth Rollins fighting in the fight pit. You got now 6-man Donnybrook match. You got. I have time. All right. Extreme Rules match card. What do we have set for so far coming up here in just a couple weeks? All right. So we have SmackDown Women's Championship, Liv Morgan taking on Ronda Rousey. This is a feud that's continued since Liv Morgan won the Money in the Bank contract, cashed it in on and won the SmackDown Women's Championship that same night, pinning and defeating Ronda Rousey. And Ronda Rousey took some time away, and now she's back, and they want to have another great match. And I think it will be a great match. I think Ronda Rousey working with Liv Morgan helps Liv Morgan out. And in all honesty, Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair takes on Bailey in a ladders match. It's been a while since I've seen a ladder match, and I think that these two women can go to the extreme levels. All right. You have a fight pit match between Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle. As that continues, Drew McIntyre takes on Karrion Kross in a strap match. See if Scarlett will get involved. Edge will take on Finn Balor in an I Quit match, which I think that's going to be a big one. As a matter of fact, I think that may just very well be the main event. So, and then also we have, instead of Gunther versus Sheamus taking for the Intercontinental Championship, you got a 6-man. So there's going to be a lot of carnage expected. And what I've been telling everyone, what I like the most about this Extreme Rules this year is that last year, I think there was only one match that was Extreme Rules, if not no matches. So why do you call a pay-per-view Extreme Rules if you have no stipulations to it, right? It's just, that's how it works. Still, according to CBS Sports, you have Johnny Gargano taking on predicting that Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory will have a match within that week. And I mean, we'll learn as it comes. That is just a prediction. But let me ask you this. Who should be the main event for Extreme Rules this week? Is okay, satisfied with Roman Reigns not being in it. See, I'm okay with Roman Reigns. With Roman Reigns not being in Extreme Rules. So, what do you guys think and all? But wrapping up a week. What are you guys excited for? What are you guys looking into? We're going to get out of here on a Friday. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like I mentioned, there's a lot to go over Monday. Think about this. High school football, college football, Cincinnati Reds, the NFL, getting you guys, not only that, that's just over the weekend. SmackDown Rampage. So that's 6 things that we got to recap. And then what we have to do, we have to get you ready for the Monday Night Football. We got to get you guys ready for the last 3 games of the baseball season, playoff updates. Man, a lot of cover. And this is just a Friday. That's all coming up Monday. So we got to work planned out for us. Plus, friends, let us know what you guys think. If you guys are also tuning into us, if you guys could download us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Podchaser, all of that. Until then, thank you guys. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. We'll see you guys back again to Monday. And don't forget, tomorrow and Sunday, at 7 o'clock, I'll be coming live here on an audio program between the Mets and the Braves, as well as Sunday night. For more information, you guys can check us out on Facebook and all that good stuff. Until then, you guys have yourself a wonderful weekend. We'll see you guys Monday.